everyone, and welcome to another episode of Teeth Matter. I'm your host, Ellie Halabian, DDS, and I am so excited to share with you the launch of Teeth Matter Hangouts. If you haven't heard about it already, it's an exclusive membership community. It's a monthly membership where we get together on a regular basis, have live chats so that you can get some help in taking your next step. So whether you're a dental resident or a new dentist who is struggling with their day-to-day dentistry, or maybe doesn't know what their next step is and has questions about what to do next, then building your network is exactly what you need. This gives you the opportunity to make new friends. It gives you 24/7 online support. It gives you professional perks when it comes to career development. So go check out our website, teethmatter.squarespace.com, for more info and to sign up today. Now, I know you're all wondering who is our guest for today's episode. It is the amazing Dr. Christina Radics. Dr. Christina is a dentist. She's a former dental clinic owner. She's a certified coach for dental professionals. She's a keynote speaker. And the most amazing part of all is she's a DJ. And she is a dentist who is from Sweden originally, but now resides in Spain. And her journey in dentistry started in 2000, filled with accomplishments and tribulations. And as someone who had their own dental clinic, her aim has always been to ensure the satisfaction of her patients. And in the process, she realized that the daily grind often overlooks the well-being of the dentist. And that can lead to a lot of unfortunate consequences. She herself had not just one, but two burnouts that impacted her profoundly. And that led her to embark on her personal journey to assist dentists worldwide, starting with her own transformation. She teaches dentists about work-life balance, dentist well-being, burnout prevention, stress management, creativity, career change, clinic growth, so much that will help dentists get new patients and referrals and to be happier, healthier dentists in general. Now, her list of accomplishments was long, but she's also, I have to add to it, the author of the book, But Please Don't Tell Anyone, her personal story about stigma in dentistry. So, without further ado, let's dive in. Good morning, Dr. Christina Radics. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Radics?
Yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect.
Dr. Christina Radics, thank you so much for being on the Teeth Matter podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I'm so
Absolutely.
honored.
Oh, absolutely. I love to have you on. I've seen you on different platforms. I've seen you speak with some of my other colleagues. And when I met you and I saw you online and I went on your page, I saw like you are up to so much. You have a history as a dentist. You are a speaker. You are a DJ, which is like absolutely mind-blowing. All of your page just exudes confidence. And it got me thinking, I was like, were you always this confident? Because I know as a dental student or as a new dentist, I don't necessarily always feel that way. Were you always a confident person?
It depends of what. I could be very confident when it came to dancing. For example, you saw my last reel there when I was dancing. Since I was a young child, I felt like the first thing I remember when I was around 4 or 5, every time we got a guest at our house, I was like, could I dance for you? I had that. So people maybe think that she goes through like a 40-year-old crisis, but for me, it has always been there. So when it comes to dance, was confident. And I think also I have tried to stay very true to myself. I realize now that I was not self-aware, but I've always tried to stay very true to myself, and I can joke about myself. I have a distance, and I think when you have that, you're more confident. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying I can everything. I'm very transparent, and that is what I'm going to be here with you today. And I think from that place, you become more confident because you're just you.
Right. Absolutely. I think when you realize that you you don't have to be perfect and that we all have flaws and you are beautiful as you are, that you definitely come to embrace yourself a little bit more, and that confidence starts to show. And I think from that confidence also comes happiness, which is a lot of the things I see on your page as well. You seem to be a very happy person and trying to live life to the outmost, to the best. So you went from dentist to DJ. And I want people to understand your story a little bit. So if we can backtrack and you tell us how you got to where you are, that would be amazing.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. The funny thing, I've been analyzing that as well. My happiness. I have this thrive of always showing happiness, but I come from a place where there was not so much happiness. I come from a family where they gave me a lot of love, and it's not to criticize because I think that every parent do the best they can, but they were so different. And if I'm going to see something positive, I have these different sides of me because they are so different, my parents. But at the same time, they were having discussions every day. So it was a very stressful environment. So it was pretty negative. So I think there are two ways, or you become exactly, or you become pretty much like your parents were, or you change. And that is what I feel that I did. I chose, I realized that I want to be happy, I want to be positive, and it is a choice. And when you realize that that's a choice, it's not that I wake up, or I wake up happy, but because I choose it. It's not that I have more than any other. It's not that I don't have the same problems as other people, but it is a choice. And it's the total, how do you say, the summary of all the small habits you're doing. There's not much more magic to that. And yeah, so the happiness comes from unhappiness in a way. And I think that happens a lot. The happiest people are the ones that have been suffering. So yeah, you change, you take another step.
That's a great point you just made. I love how you acknowledge that you still have the same problems, or that you still have problems in life,
Oh
but you're
yeah.
actively choosing to be happy. Because people think that, oh, if you're happy, you must not have problems, or your life must be going really easy. But what you just said, you have to take a conscious decision to make that choice, or that separation between you and your family. You just said like your family was giving you a lot of negativity, and a lot of people, they feel so attached to their family because it's their support. They're going through school, their parents are providing for them. They haven't lived outside of their family's home. So how do you create those boundaries? I mean, like how do you take that first step?
Yeah. I can say that I was the worst in setting boundaries, and that's why I had two periods, really difficult periods of burnout in dentistry because I couldn't set boundaries
Mm.
because of the situation. And many times it comes from your childhood. Um, because of the situation, I developed these characteristics that I couldn't set boundaries. I wanted to be the good girl. I wanted to do everything perfectly. I was this people pleaser. And can you imagine having these characteristics and being a dental clinic owner?
Oh,
It's doomed. You will have a burnout. It's not sustainable. So it hit me after 10 years as a dentist. It hit me the first time. I stepped back, was home for a month. I thought that I knew the secrets. And then another 7 years, and it would hit me. But it hit me harder. And that's the thing. That is how it works. If you don't change your mindset or your environment, you will have another burnout. It's like life tells you that something is wrong. So I didn't have any boundaries. It took me, and it's an effort when you go through to do such a change in your life. It's not easy. If it would be easy, everybody would do it. You have to really make a journey inside yourself, find your true self, and you need help. You need professional help with a coach, with a mentor, with a psychologist to flesh out the things. And once you have fleshed it out and you realize, it's not Christina who can't set boundaries, it's a trauma response from that you couldn't set boundaries because you had to be the good girl. And over again, I want to say, I'm not criticizing, but we have to be true because it's the first 7 years in our lives that sets and creates our thinking, our brain structure a little bit. So these sides of being a perfectionist, people pleaser, it sets there, and it takes more effort to really change. So today I'm a person who can set boundaries, but it took time.
Yeah, I've started to notice, or I've been reading more or listening to more podcasts that really defines the fact that who you are today is a reflection of what environment you grew up in, all the little traumas, like even little trauma and big traumas.
Yeah,
It doesn't have to be like
no,
like a catastrophe that happened to you to really affect you. And this is like your reactive response every time you're in an environment or in a situation. It's your reactive response from that time when you were little, right? Um, and it takes a lot of awareness. But you said you went through that burnout once, and then it happened again 7 years later or 10 years later. What
yes,
was the difference the second time that you're like, oh, I need to fix myself
yeah,
or I need to work on myself?
yeah. The first time was more, I was sad. And it depends how you are as a person. For me, it's very easy to cry. If I see, you can start to cry and I start to cry. I like the babies, one start to cry and the other. I'm like, I have always been a high sensitive person, emotional. So
Okay.
I don't need much, but that was different. I was like crying every day. I was not happy. And normally I am a happy person. Uh, I just felt I was low. I couldn't concentrate in the same way as before. So you start to do these mistakes, and it's a bad circle, because vicious circle, because you feel bad because you have forgotten a lot of things. The second one was much more physical. I had these panic attacks. I could take a nap in the middle of the day, and I woke up with this panic attack. Like my body had this high level of cortisol, and it didn't know when I was sleeping, when I was relaxing. And that is a big problem that we have in dentistry. We have these peaks of cortisol all the time. So our body, we don't know when we have to rest. We wake up in the middle of the night. We think, oh, will I have a leakage in that filling I did? We have this cortisol's production all the time. So, and the same thing, the memory, that's a typical sign. The memory loss, you start to forget things. And I was really low, much. I felt, or even into the end, I didn't really accept that I was entering a depression. But my family members said, Christina, you're starting to get depressed, because every day it was like I couldn't find a way out. How can I do what? You don't see that you have options to change. And that's, I was really, it's, I cannot, yeah, it's sad to say, but like I was really close to the feelings that I couldn't see how to get out of it. And that is also why I think that unfortunately, that we have suicide in the profession when you can't see. But what I want to say is that we always have an option. It's just a job. It's not our whole being. It's a job. And that's the thing that we have in dentistry, that what am I if I'm not a clinic owner? What am I if I'm not the dentist? Hello, I'm Christina, the dentist. We present ourselves with our profession. If you remove the dentist, it will feel like I just have one arm. No, I'm Christina. I, I existed before I became a dentist.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, your career does not define you. And I think it's a lot of this, and I've spoken to other people about this, that it seems to be like we invest so much in school and we dedicate so much to school that because we've put in so much time, we think that, okay, like this is our identity now. Like this is why we are who we are, and we've accomplished this title that not many people have or not many people can express, and so we attach so much emotion to it because we went through so much ups and downs to achieve it. But you're right. We are not just dentists. There's Christina the DJ. There's Christina who likes to dance, and there's Ellie who likes to travel and go out and enjoy good food. And so there's different identities to us, or different parts of us. We're multidimensional. I absolutely agree with you. And so
Exactly.
at this point, were you always an associate, or were you a practice owner? Was it like responsibilities of owning a practice that got to you, or was it just clinical dentistry in general?
Yeah, so I started at the same clinic that I became an owner. So I was 19 years at the same clinic.
Okay.
That doesn't happen a lot. What I I realized that when I speak to other dentists. But I started at that clinic, and then I became a partner, and then I became the only owner. And what I have realized is that the happiest dentists, because they are happy dentists, I have to admit that when I had my second burnout, I felt like there are no happy dentists. It's like almost after a relationship, I'm going to stay single the rest of my life. And you think that there are no happy dentists, but there are. And the thing is that the happy dentists, they separate their private lives and work life. They have these healthy habits. And that is what I'm lecturing about now. I've come up with everything I've been reading. I've come up with one formula:
Mm.
3 + 5, 3 secrets mental resilient people know, and 5 pillars. And with those, you become happy. But the thing is that stress has the same effect on our brain as alcohol does. You stop thinking, it shuts off. That's why you lose the memory. You start to forget things because your brain starts to shut off different parts of your brain, and you just stay with the reptile brain in the end. That's why you can't think clear. You don't see any option, and you just stay alive, but you don't have so much feelings because all the other parts have just been shut off.
Mm.
So yeah.
You just mentioned 5 pillars. What are the 5 pillars that people have to focus on?
So the 5 pillars are: the first is self-care, and that's sleep, nutrition, movement, and rest. We have to sleep around 7 to 8 hours, because during those 7, 8 hours, it's like we have secretaries, we have cleaners and technicians that comes into our brain, removes what we don't need, and organize all the information we have received during the day, throws out what we don't need, and repair the broken cells in our brain. That's why many times, I don't know if it has happened to you, but I go to sleep with a problem and I wake up with the answer.
Mm.
Yeah, and they even call it the lymphatic system. They know that this exists. It's not just animation. This exists. So it's very important to sleep. But that's the first thing that affects us when we are stressed. We sleep less. We wake up, we are stressed. The second, nutrition. One thing that I asked the dentist on my last lecture is that, how many times do you walk out from the clinic during lunch? And there were just 3 out of 100. There were 3. We don't leave the clinic. And we know that when we are focused in a small area, we will have a cortisol production because we feel tension. And when you have tension, when you have a difficult task, you will have cortisol that affects the whole body. So by just leaving during your lunch and eating, they have seen that food with more magnesium is improving the brain activity and even making your brain grow. So we can do these things to improve the health. And then we have movement. We are sitting down during the whole day, and having stress with our cortisol. We need to move, and we need to remove all that stress that we have received during the day. We know all these, but we have to book it in, just as we booked in this meeting today. We have to put it in our agenda. If not, we will not make it because we feel that we don't have time. You have to prioritize. The fourth, the resting. This is really important. How many times do we actually rest when we don't think about anything, when we are bored? That doesn't happen. Can you imagine Newton, if he was running and stressing to his dental clinic, would he notice that the apple was falling? Would he notice that there were a tree? He wouldn't even notice if there was a whole forest because he would be stressed. Archimedes, how he was sitting in the bathtub and he noticed that the volume, that the water changed, and he started to think, maybe there is something called volume. All these things, inspiration and creativity, it comes when you least expect it, when you're in the shower, when you're taking a walk, when you're going out with the dogs, not when you're on the mobile. And that's the thing. I have a teenager and I see the stress in her. I see similar symptoms as when I had a burnout because they're all the time with their phones. It's a big thing. So the second pillar, I'm just going to through the others pretty fast. So the second pillar is the mindfulness, because the mindfulness is the tool to be present. We have heard that word so many times, and I can admit that when I heard mindfulness, my brain went like, okay, meditation is not for me. But when you feel that the meditation is not for you, it could be a sign that you need it more than anyone else because you need to slow down. When I had been through my burnout, I got a coach, and she said to me one day, Christina, do you realize that you're driving in 180 kilometers per hour on a 50 kilometers road? I didn't realize that I was running. And the same thing happened now on the lecture, the presentation I was giving. I said to the dentist, could you sit down for 2 minutes and write down your strengths as a dentist? And I could really see that they got annoyed that I forced them to calm down because we want, no, tell me, what can I do to be happy? Give me that pill, give me that answer. But we have to slow down to find it. We have to be in the present. Like now, enjoying this moment with you. Life is here. And here is where we have less anxiety. We have anxiety when we think about the past, when we think about the future, but I heard a phrase that said, there is no anxiety in the present moment. But I don't really agree because then they have not cemented veneers. Because when you when you cement veneers, there's a lot of anxiety and you are very present. But you know what I mean? It's like we forget that life is here. Right. And mindfulness helps us to breathe. That's the fastest way to be here and now, is to breathe. That's why the meditation always starts with the breathing part. And we could breathe while we are treating the patient. We could breathe while we are making the filling, with the lamp. We have these moments when we are writing the notes. We could just be aware and breathe profoundly. But nobody has taught us. We need mentors and coaches and good teachers in university to teach us that, so we get the good habits already when we are young, not when we have been through burnouts and we are fed up of things. It's a little bit too late. It's never too late, but you know what I mean. The third pillar is ikigai, to feel a purpose, to feel that you're part of something bigger. But in that way, I think that dentists, we feel that we have a purpose. We feel the impact. Even if everybody says that they hate us, we see the impact we see the impact we have on their lives. And that is our dopamine. That is when we feel like, oh, it's all worth it because I changed this person's life. But you know, the ikigai is 4 circles: your passions, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can get paid for. And in that intersection, that is your purpose. I was doing a lot of treatments as dentist because I had my own clinic. And I realized, well, I don't like endodontics. I have to get another person doing that. Because every time I was doing it, I was suffering. I was not good at it. It was stressing me. The same thing with small children. I have children, but I'm so weak when it comes to children. I don't want to hurt them. I don't want to make them sad. You know? So I was suffering inside. I was really drained after having a child in the chair. So I came to a point, but that was already like after being a dentist for 12 years when I said, I'm not going to have more small children when I cannot communicate, when they're too scared. So the ikigai is important. It is like the motor for us, like the engine. Number 4, that's the longest study that we have, that they have done. What makes people happy? And they saw that it's not the money, it's not status, it's not your profession, where you live, son or no son. It's about your relations. To have, you don't need a lot of friends, but to have relations, deep connections with other people, where you can share your struggles, you can share your thoughts. And that is number 1 for happiness. And number 5, the 5th pillar, I can say that that is the leader, because that is self-conscious. If you're not self-conscious, you will be like a boat just floating around, and your direction will be dependent on the currents, the winds, what other people say. But if you're self-aware, and that's what I have seen with the dentists that are happy, they know what they want, they know which treatments they want to do, they know what they don't want. You can choose that.
Interesting. I came up with a question just now. Self-awareness. It's a very mature concept. I feel like a lot of people who are self-aware have, experienced the burnout, have made changes, are literally a bit further in their career and their life where they've been through something and they're like, I recognize it now and I want to be different, right? Do you think self-awareness has to do with maturity or age?
Yes and no. It could be like my youngest, she's 15, and now she has to take decisions where she's going to study. And she said, Mom, I want to travel. I don't want to be inside the office. I want to be like free. So I think the younger generations are much more self-aware. I think it's because social media as well. Maybe she has heard what I have said. I don't know, but younger generations are much more self-aware. Maybe it's going towards exaggeration in the other way. Like, I don't want to do anything, but I want to get money. Uh, in some
That's the
cases,
dream,
it could
huh?
be, yeah. But it's nice to see that they are much more self-aware, because I was not self-aware at all. I was this, like Dr. Kai Stanley says, this dental robot. I was just into my thing. I just had to please patients and pay bills and this hamster wheel. So I think there's a change in society, but in the same way as you say, it has to do with maturity, because as my daughter said, but how can I know what I want when I don't have any experience? It's true. How can you know what you want? You have to experience. But the important thing is to be true to yourself. Try something and think, did I like it? Did I enjoy it? Did I feel home? Like, was I really happy in that situation? Then that's a sign that that is what you should do. You should be in your flow, because that is your genius zone. That means that you have something special there. It's like you felt it now with starting the podcast. It was something, your true self that wanted to show up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was a different side of me, like a creative side of me, a side of me that
Yeah,
I had suppressed for so long. And I was like, there
yeah,
has to be a different way to do dentistry, like, because we're still talking about dentistry in our careers. Like,
yeah,
there, like you said, different aspects to dentistry. And so this was an opportunity to explore that. And you're absolutely right. And like you said, if you don't try something, you also never know. So saying yes to experiences, I think, is a good thing. Obviously, with a
yeah,
little bit of like, uh,
yeah,
a thought behind it, but yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
um, are you still practicing by any chance?
I am practicing. I have a few patients, but I'm a weak point that I have had during all my life. I really like fleshed out my strengths, my weaknesses, and one of my weaknesses are is that I want I I I like to do being projects and I want to do everything, but I realize that you cannot do everything. You cannot be good in doing everything. So I have taken a decision to concentrate in giving the keynote presentations, lecturing, and being a coach, to be the support to other dentists. Because what I felt so alone when I was going through my burnout. And I got this strong feeling that I want to be there for other dentists. I want to make us aware of things that we don't get in the university. And by stepping back, I have realized so many things. It's like you have to get this distance to see things from another view.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to mistakes, for example, as a dentist, it's like I cannot do any mistake because I'm working in somebody's mouth. But in other professions, mistakes is something good. You know, yeah,
That
that
was an
was a
accident,
mistake.
right?
Yeah, that was an accident. They wanted to make these super adhesive. Now it came to Spanish, pegamento. Yeah, super strong adhesive. But suddenly they knew it was very weak, and you could yeah, how do you say?
Pull it apart.
Yeah,
And there
and
you go.
use it again.
Yeah.
So that was a mistake, and most of the things were invented thanks to mistakes. But
Mm-hmm.
in dentistry, that's another thing that triggers this perfectionist, that we cannot do mistakes. And we are in this community where we have this tendency to show the best sides, like the best after, before, and after
Mm-hmm.
pictures. Nobody can see like small details as a dentist. We see everything. It's like, no, I cannot put that after a photo because there is one spot. And your husband can say, what spot? Yeah, I see it. I cannot put it. So we are in this world of perfectionists where we don't admit mistakes. And that is something that we have to also add, because that's the three secrets of mental resilience. That's the what. The first secret is suffering doesn't discriminate, it affects us all.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're doing a mistake, everybody's doing a mistake. It's not only you. And that is something that we have to think of when we look at social media. Doesn't matter what happy picture they put, everybody's going through suffering. That's life in different ways. But there is nobody that has this perfect life. So that is something you have to realize. The second secret of mental resilience is you before you determine something, before you, how do you say, take a decision, you have to think, will this benefit me or will this harm me? Will this benefit me or will this harm me, before you say yes or no to something? And the third one is that you decide where you put your energy and focus. And you should focus on the 5 pillars. And that's why I said in the beginning that happiness is a decision. Totally. It's not what you have, it's your mindset. And you can be happy in dentistry because, but it's your mindset. You have to separate the two worlds of your private life and dentistry, and then you can be happy. But once you mix it around, and I worked a lot when I was home. I worked many hours at work. I mean, it's not sustainable.
Right. That was very powerful, very deep. That suffering does not discriminate. That really hit me
Mm,
hard. You're absolutely right. We can't judge each other's life or problems or struggles. And I
no.
think, like you said, social media kind of also masks that because we see
Yeah,
different things or the good
of
stories of
course.
people who are experiencing.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Now, you said you're doing keynote speeches at different universities, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is this only in Europe, or do you come to America too?
I come wherever you want.
I mean,
I
I want people to be able to see you in person. I would love to see you
yeah.
in person.
Yeah.
Um, do you have anything coming up soon?
I new Now during the spring I have in different parts of Spain. I Last weekend I was in northern Spain, and it was so nice to see, because you see that these walls that we have just breaks down, because I tell my story, and dentists, we are not used to hear these things. So people just came up and like, I've been in the same situation, and I went through that. We have this need to explain, and we have this need to feel that we are not alone. So that was I was really sad in one way, because what I thought is a real problem actually is a real problem. I was sitting beside a dentist during one dinner now in northern Spain, and we were speaking about mental health, and she said, "Yeah, one of the dentists at my clinic, he took his life." So it's so real. This is important things, and just by hearing somebody say, "You know what, you have a decision to make," or give these tips, advices, it can be life changing. So that is my ikigai, that is my mission, my purpose now, and I really enjoy it. So I want to go everywhere in the world, but this spring I will be in Spain. But I'm very open on social media for everyone who wants to contact me. So I'm yeah.
Exactly what I wanted to ask you. Can you share your Instagram handle or maybe ways people can contact you if they wanted to reach out?
Yes, yes, of course. They can reach me out. I have a link also that they can book immediately a meeting with me that is totally for free. Maybe they just want to like tell something or whatever. We just need sometimes to speak.
And it's at Dr. Christina Radics, correct?
Uh, at which one?
Your Instagram.
My
Christina Radics.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think yeah, I have so many my different personalities. I have the DJ part, but I think it's yeah, Doctor dot Christina Radics, yeah, on Instagram. But yeah, it's easy to find me. But
And
yeah.
is there anything that we haven't really touched on that you would like to share before we log off?
You're really good at this, huh? That's really good. That is how I finish the coaching sessions. You're a coach. Yeah, I would like to finish by saying that there are happy dentists. And when I was sitting there after my lectures, and now in Santiago de Compostela, northern Spain, we were sitting at a dinner, and I had this older man beside me. I think he was around 70. He's a dentist, but also now he's a professor at the university. And he looked at me. He said, "Christina, I'm still very happy in the profession. I have enjoyed each and every year of being a dentist." And I said, so happy for you. What advice could you give? How did you find the balance? Because it is about balance. And his wife was sitting in front of him and he said, she helped me. So there you have like the relations you have, somebody who helps you, who supports you. But then she said, yeah, but don't you remember that each and every night you woke up in the middle of the night stressed that you had forgotten something or about a patient case? So it's also very easy to forget the struggles that you had, but it is true. And sometimes when I write about burnout and things, there's always some dentist who says, I'm very happy. It's like almost they feel like you punch them in the belly. And that is not what I'm saying. I know that my personality was really strange in dentistry, like being high sensitive, being, I don't like, actually, I realized that I don't like protocols and routines.
Mm.
And in that is something I want to say that I feel is very important too, that I think that we should work a little bit more on maybe doing tests who starts dentistry or let them know. Or of course, when you're around 20, you don't know how you are. But
Right.
now when I have a distance to it, I'm like, I don't like routines. I don't like protocols. I always suffered when I had to write down the notes after having a treatment, you know. Maybe I wanted to dance, you know.
Right.
You know, we are not, all of us are not, it, we don't fit into the dentistry, all of us. I,
Yeah.
I, I, I'm going, like I said to you, I'm really transparent with you.
I
And
appreciate your transparency. Honestly, because it's funny. I am also a very emotional person. I cry during movies. I'm like, even though I want to learn, I'm also very sensitive to criticism. I take it personally. Like, these are all
yeah,
things that, like, in dentistry, it happens on a daily basis, which makes my life even harder, you know? And you're right. Like,
yeah,
I don't like necessarily being told what to do. I'm more about, like, having flexibility, and I like having a 4 day work week, and my boss thinks I should have a
mhm,
full week of work, you know, and so everyone's different.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
I
that's why we should only go and look at from our own perspective. We all wear these different glasses based on our personality, our childhood experiences, our education, and all the experiences we have had. So we cannot say what's the best for another person. Some people love to work 5 days a week as a dentist. Some people love to work 3 days. Another person realize that they don't fit and they want to be in a bakery and they are much more happier there. So we cannot criticize each other because we all have the power to decide. We all have the right to decide. Is it easy? No. Will you lose money? Yes. But when you are going through a burnout, I can tell you that money is the least thing you're thinking about. You just want to be able to laugh and be happy.
those were some great points that you just made, and I love that. I love that you are doing dentistry still. You're still active in the field. I love that you're DJing. Oh, like who thought dentist and DJ? It's like two personalities that people don't even like associate together, right?
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. No, so I love watching you do that too. And maybe instead of
Thank you
seeing
so
you at a
much.
lecture, I'll come to one of your sets. That'll be even more fun.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I was so afraid of showing that side during long time, but then I realized that people need to see that too. We need to see that we are you cannot just put us into a box. We are a combination of several things, but we have this view that you're a dentist, you're serious. But that is changing as well with the younger generations. I think they are more open that you cannot be put into a box.
Right.
I just want to say one thing that is important that my friend said to me. It was about, yeah, half a year ago. She said, "Oh, what a pity, Christina, that you wanted to sell your clinic," because I did sell it. You wanted to sell your clinic and because you are such a good dentist, and I am. because I care. I think as long as you're a caring person, you will be good at anything you do because you push yourself to a level because you want to make people happy. So when if you scroll down, it was all about aesthetic treatments before and after, and I made my clinic really like a spa, with soft music, happy vibes. So I had all of that. But that's why I think when I did the Myers-Briggs personality test,
Yeah.
I am the campaigner. I'm the Peter Pan of Myers-Briggs. It literally says you're the Peter Pan of Myers-Briggs. You like to be creative. We don't recommend you to be a dentist. So it's like I said to her, my friend, when she said, Christina, you're such a good dentist. You're so good to dentistry. And I said, yeah, I'm good to dentistry, but dentistry is not 100% good for me. I can do it, but I cannot see myself working full time. It is something in me that breaks me down because you have to like routines. And some people do it. My mother-in-law, she eats the same breakfast every morning that she has been doing for 30 years. It's bread,
Wow.
butter, and like, how do you say? Oh, I have forgotten.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, jam, like not strawberry, the other raspberry. It's like we are all so different.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we should do
Well,
what we love.
I think we're going to end on that. But thank you so much for being here, for sharing, for
Thank
being
you.
vulnerable. Um, it's so great to have this conversation with you. Hi, I'm Ellie Halabian, and I'm the founder and creator of Teeth Matter, a podcast that brings to you real talk between different dental professionals in order to help each one of us navigate our careers. Now, if you're a D3 student, a D4 student, or maybe even a dental resident who struggles with day-to-day dentistry, or maybe doesn't know what their next step is, then Teeth Matter Hangouts is for you. It's an exclusive membership community that allows you to connect, vent, and ask questions so that you can take your next step with confidence. It provides 24/7 online support, plus you get membership perks when it comes to CE courses or professional development courses. Check out our website for more info. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow our podcast, write a review, leave a comment. Anything you share with us goes a long way. And if you think a friend will appreciate this podcast, then make sure you share it with them too. Until next time, cheers.